Let's have a look at another conversation. And this is what I'm saying. Last night was quite interesting because I had kind of different angles and different conversations. This one was about, actually, this is what we talked about at the start. You know, you look at the government you've got now, whether we relate that to this government or America, you look at what there was 10, 15, 20 years ago and you used to think that was awful. But that compared to what you've got today is kind of like, oh my God, a light on the hill. They talked a bit about John Key, and John Key being at the conference over the weekend, being the person sounding off to Christopher Luxon to pull back on the race stuff. Let's have a listen.
Just as the conference was about to drown in a white milk vanilla pool of beige mediocrity, former Prime Minister and honorary Western playmate of Xi the Great begged National to dim the burning crosses a tad. Does it say something about how weak Luxon is as a Prime Minister that John Key has to pause counting money in Beijing to plead for National to tone down the naked anti-Māori attack?
It's a very sad state that we've got ourselves into, and I have to say that we were proud of the progress that we've made in this area. And for someone like myself who grew up learning nothing about Māori history or Māori culture, it was a steep learning curve when I came into Parliament. And I think there are many people, particularly in the South Island, who have learned more, they have appreciated it and are moving forward. And there was race baiting in the lead up to the election, and it was very, very sad. And I think that for John Key to tell the government, the National Party, to tone down is a measure of what he sees as a concerning and growing situation around division in our country, and we should never, ever condone that.
Damien, China's honorary ambassador John Key was quick to point out that it is ACT in New Zealand first who are generating all the race-baiting policy that is destabilising the country. Is it time for David Seymour to heed Matua Key's wisdom on race relation? I'm asking for the Uyghurs.
Put so eloquently.
No, it is not the role of... If you want to talk about race baiting, right?
We do. You seem to be finding it difficult to find your words, Mr. Grant. A little bit like last week when you got put in your place as well, but we'll give you another chance.
So you look at what Seymour is doing. Seymour is saying, hold on, we need to have a national dialogue. What are the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi? And I challenge people, go and Google principles of the Treaty of Waitangi. You're not going to find four principles articulated anywhere. You've got to go and you've got to try and drag them out of the 87 lands case. They're not well articulated. They're not well put anywhere that you can actually use.
Sorry, I'm sorry to pause this, but I just did exactly what he suggested. This is the first time I've done this. Updated structure around the Treaty of Waitangi, principles, partnership, protection, and participation. So that wasn't that difficult to find. I literally did the challenge he said. Like I literally just Googled principles of the Treaty of Waitangi, and Google has scraped the Treaty of Waitangi principle NZ curriculum site to say partnership, protection, and participation. But I'm so sorry, Mr. Grant, to interrupt you. Please continue.
I'm moving in a situation where there is something. The argument is that there is a treaty partnership. Well, what is the partnership? How does it work? Where is the definition? Where are the boundaries? And Seymour wants to have that conversation.
No, it's evolving.
And the reaction, and no, well, okay, but Damien,
he doesn't want to have that conversation. One of the things, Clint, we've been saying about this government is for people to be aware of all these words that sound okay on level one. We're all equal. That might be what they're saying, but what they're putting into practice to get it to we're all equal is insidious and dangerous. So this has got about a minute to go. I think we'll play the end of this, then you can jump in.
There are a lot of people, myself included, who look at the treaty and say this is an issue of property rights. Where property rights have been expropriated by the Crown, those property rights need to be reinstated. I don't believe that the Treaty of Waitangi creates a partnership. I don't think that the treaty can or should evolve. Now, I might be wrong about that.
You are wrong.
And people should say, hey, Damien, I disagree with that. But the reaction...
Hey, Damien, I disagree with that.
is to say, oh my God, you want to talk about the treaty, you must be a racist. This is the thing that's impeding the dialogue. And there are lots of people out there who don't want to go into this issue because they don't want to be called a racist. And people like the Maori Party going out there and saying Winston Peters is a waste of Maori blood, the Maori Party going out there and criticising Karen Shaw as not being the right sort of Maori, that is the party of racism. The Maori Party is a party of race supremacy.
And we'll get into this in the next. We will get this into the next thing.
I want to hear Damien's response.
Such is the level, I guess, of frustration and tension that's not good for any of us. And I think we do need to have discussions, but it's the way that it's portrayed, I guess, and the challenge rather than the conversation, which is what we need. I think we do need to continue with the conversations.
Yes.
People like myself still have huge gaps in my knowledge, and that a lot of people around say, we seem to be moving ahead. There is always something intervening, coming in from left field over, a local resource consent or something like that, that people shake their heads and they don't quite understand the history. Bringing Māori history into schools, I think, is a really smart thing, and I'm proud to be part, of a government that did that.
There we go. That's the end of that clip there as well. And yes, he is the gift that keeps on giving, and he has given us a gift tonight. So thank you for that, Mr. Grant. But there you go, Clint. I'll just throw the ball to you, mate. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting. You said, I believe in property rights, and if property rights have been expropriated by the Crown, then they should be righted. And actually, that's never going to happen because so much of New Zealand was stolen that it's never going to be put right. And the principles is kind of a way of saying, look, we're not going to actually honour the word of the treaty, truth is, but we'll at least give some nod to it, and because the treaty says it's all belongs to the iwi leaders, and the each iwi, and that they have sovereignty over their land, and that's not reality, and it's not going to be a reality. And when the treaty principles were created in those legal cases, it was a way of acknowledging that wrong had been done and some right needed to be made, even if it couldn't be fully honouring the contract. So it's interesting he said that, but
the other thing and this is what we're saying, the complete horse shit. It's like they're pretending that it's that they've got pure motives. I mean, we can just stop and go when he goes, "I'm one of these that doesn't really understand." I said, well, go and fucking educate yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what you're saying is you're one of these people. If you want to find out, then you can do the work, or you can go, I'm going to go and align myself politically and get them to tell me what it is, and then I'll know. No, no one's stopping you finding out. I mean, you can even start with Dr. Google. Dr. Google can probably help you in some of these things. Help me. Did what you said, and it came back saying partnership, protection, and participation. But it's people who are saying, I don't know. Oh, what have you done to learn? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
So, well, how about the fair thing to do would be, how about you go and do some work, right? Start with some work, get that sorted. And if you're still at a point where you're not well enough informed, we'll then have the conversation nationwide. But do the work first. Don't just come in, don't start the game without stretching, or else you're going to get injured.
And like you say, this isn't an honest attempt at a debate. It's part of a whole slew of anti-Māori policies that are about race baiting. It is interesting that Key is trying to get him to stop that. When Key came in to head National, they just lost in 2005 with Don Brash race baiting, and he said, look, we can't win by alienating Māori and alienating anyone who doesn't want to be associated with racism. And so he ran quite a middling line on race relations. Worked with the Māori Party in government, established whānau order, and those things. Whereas these guys, even a Māori word has to come out of an invite to a Matariki celebration. It's insidious with these guys, and maybe it's a reflection of if they hadn't won this time, maybe they would have sat back and reflected and said, actually, maybe we need to pivot to the centre rather than playing up racial division. But they're in now, and it's not your John Key's National Party. These guys, they don't have the depth of policy. It's all meme level policy and race baiting. It's essentially what this government's about.
I would challenge one of the things you've just said. Not that I know, but more with a thought process. What do you call it? A thought exercise. Maybe they are John Key's National Party, but because of their any means to an end power grab, they've had to give quite a lot away to the other two. If they were a majority party by themselves, maybe it wouldn't be quite like this. And that then just comes back and speaks to Luxon's lack of leadership and desperation to put himself in power no matter what. Maybe. I don't know that, but maybe.
I think on the Māori stuff, I think that's probably been pushed mainly by the others. Although, they ran very hard on co-governance, and it very much was echoes of the foreshore and seabed stuff.
Fair.
Wasn't it? A mate of mine would say, they're not John Key's National Party, they're Cameron Slater's Labour Party. National Party. These are the guys who grew up in politics reading whale oil, and that's where their views are coming from. So I think if you have you watched The Wire, and the thing is, each generation of the drug trade gets more and more brutal and less sophisticated.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like how it feels a bit in Parliament. They criticised us when we came to power in 2017 for not that we hadn't done the work on the policies, and we had these working groups and stuff. But the level of policy that we had organised in 2017 looks light years ahead of these guys, who basically came in with, we're going to cancel a bunch of stuff and have tax cuts. And that was kind of it, and you look back, maybe it is getting sophisticated on both sides. Maybe that's something that needs to be worked on, but there's no Lockwood Smiths, there's no Simon Powers, Simon Uptons, or the people of that kind of intellectual caliber in today's national government, and I think it shows.